welcome to episode 8 of The Acolyte, called The Acolyte. This is the final episode in the first season of The Acolyte. Not our final episode, because we're going to do a season analysis, hopefully in about a week's time, roughly when the episode would have came out in the UK. So hopefully that will be Wednesday next week. If it's in the future, it will already be up there. And saying that, you can find us on Trek Wars and Fantasy YouTube channel or on Apple Podcasts and the Acolyte Review podcast. And who knows, after we've done all these, we may have more things to go, but who knows at the moment? Not us. We just know we got a review for the season after this. So,
but watch the space. Keep watching the space. We love to throw little curveballs out. We are talking about plans at the moment. I am very excited about it. So, yeah, watch the space.
Cool. If you don't know us already, I'm Ben, and my co-host is
Olympus. And I've got to say, I am very much looking forward to this review. I am going to temper myself a little bit during this one. There are elements of it that I really enjoyed. There are elements of it that moopsied me off. So, yeah, I'm going to temper myself. I'll approach it constructively like I have with everything else. And, yeah, let's see if I can control my emotions better than Saul.
Definitely, yes. So that is something that will maybe come partly in, but that's probably going to happen more in the review later. But we'll get there. So we're opening scene. It's dark. You got the I can't even remember if it's the Star Wars symbol or the Acolyte symbol or what. And then you start hearing this heavy breathing, and you realise it's Osha under the helmet from the sixth episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it basically goes on to a panic attack, almost. No, I'm going to call it a panic attack with this helmet on, and you got Kamir almost looking like he's trying to save her / get to the helmet and struggling get into the helmet to get it off.
And did you notice the way his eyes went before it goes into the dark scene, and it almost looks like he's in a similar place to a certain Padawan that we saw being taken over by the witches in a previous episode.
Yeah, his black eyes.
So it's almost like her premonition of things to come, wearing that helmet, or she was almost controlling him in a sense as she was doing it unwillingly.
Possibly, yeah. And we have two things. First of all, no, actually, keeping on that note, I have a feeling maybe somebody is giving the person in the helmet something like one of those either body over takeovers or like Snook was doing in the films.
Okay.
It's like not barring two minds together, but giving information hastily or taking over mine or giving them premonitions. Because the second point of that is she had a premonition basically of May with her hands arm out with a lightsaber, and I can't remember if they said killing so or about to kill so. I think it was killing so.
Yes, but killing him without the lightsaber.
But without the lightsaber. But
and Kimmy was like, "Ooh, she can kill them without a lightsaber." Ooh.
Yeah, getting excited there, and that is nearly right.
Almost.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, interpretations of these things are not always correct, are they?
Exactly.
So you need context. So that's a thing. So you got any thoughts on the helmet on that scene, or?
No, it was nice just to conclude that piece from 2 episodes ago. So I guess it was naturally the right place to start. considering that the previous episode was a flashback. So we're continuing from where we left off in episode 6, basically.
Yeah.
So no, I liked it. Not really much else to say on it.
Yeah. So there's, in my opinion, there is more to that helmet than makes out there.
Well, I can't remember if we've talked about this before or not, but it's made of. Oh my god! I've just had a mind blank.
Insert metal here.
Insert metal here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this bit out because I know what it's made of. Because
yeah, no, we did discuss this.
I talked to you about it. I told you what it was.
Yeah.
Cortosis. It's cortosis. They knew it would come back to me. Alright, so.
Yeah, and apparently, go on.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, so the helmet is made of cortosis. Which has the effect of disabling energy, dissipating it along the material, basically, which is why it can short out lightsabers for a short period of time. What the other thing that it does is blocks out everything outside of it. So all of your senses are completely blocked by it, apart from your connection to the Force. If you do tap into that connection, which is what Kamir's talking about when he's saying put your helmet on and it blocks everything out. It helps that it's just one tiny little slit you can't actually see through, so that helps block out your sight, and then your other senses are gone too. So it's literally just you and the Force. So it brings out your true sort of raw power. Is I guess where that's my interpretation of what he's trying to talk about.
Yes.
So that to me is so. I've not seen anything else, or I don't see anything else about the helmet beyond that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious that you do.
Yeah. So you see that I'm going to go. In that case, is it her who has this thing with the Force that she can predict the future, possibly, or see into the future? Or is it something that the helmet is making her see into the future? Not sure. Or maybe it's because it's taken out all the everything else that it means she can concentrate it on it, so it is indirectly the helmet. But
my personal opinion, don't know what we call it, is that it's her Force powers, but the helmet's helping her connect to them properly. Because bear in mind, she's been struggling to reconnect with the Force this entire season. We've not really seen her use the Force much at all. But that helmet allows her to reconnect to it in a way that nothing else has, which explains why she starts to get a little bit hooked into this whole sort of path that Kamir is trying to push her down.
Yeah, and maybe that is a starting point for her to connect to the Force for 2 scenes later. One where she meets her. Oh no, both of them are roughly the same scenes, but basically one when she meets her sister, gets angry. I know I'm jumping a bit ahead, but when she gets in fights her, and then gets to Soul later and uses it on Soul. So maybe that has reinvigorated her in that way.
Possibly, but let's not go too far. As you say, I've got comments on both of them, especially the Soul piece. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else just now because I will just skip otherwise.
In that case, talking about So, he is with May on the ship at Brendock.
Yes.
So he's explaining she / her sister is the Virgins. He's basically waiting for the order now. So he has a Jedi order, so he has got them back in contact. And May is trying to escape and actually succeeds. So
yeah, now the way she succeeds, this is my first issue with this episode. Why? I've forgotten his name already, but why does the little tracker?
Oh no, tracker. Basil.
Basil, thank you.
I keep wanting to call him Brazil.
Brazil. Basil. Why does Basil sabotage the ship? I don't get it.
That is a good question. Is why does it have? We are skipping a little bit, but yes, not by much. why does he do that? Does he know what he does will end up knocking their ship, her ship,
So I've actually misunderstood you then, because when you said she eventually escapes, I thought you were talking about escaping in the ship, not escaping from the bed.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's pull back a little bit. Then let's
both.
talk about that whole element there. Then clever using Pip to unlock the cuff and get her out, and then shock Sol. I'm disappointed a bit though. That Sol was fooled by that. Says a Jedi Knight or Master who's very present in the moment would see that coming a mile away. So, not too sure if he's just so wound up and in his own thoughts and feelings and everything, he's just not paying attention. But it just didn't feel right to me.
Yeah, the Pip thing I don't mind. It's a way of letting it happen. I don't mind those things. The little things.
Oh no, like her trying that, I totally get. Is how Sol didn't see it.
Noticed, yes, but that is a recurring thing with him. He's not seeing things. He is. I'm going to put it down to he's in a state. He's a mess at the moment.
Yeah, but he doesn't come across like a mess. And there are key scenes he does, and the rest of the time he doesn't. And it's not even like you see him not being a mess, but trying not to be a mess when no one's around. But he just isn't in a mess, and then all of a sudden he is, and he's not, then he is, and he's not. It just, having seen that over so many episodes now, and I loved that character, and I really wanted a nice rounded up sort of view of it, and it just felt a bit discombobulated, for want of a better word.
I see what you mean, and I'm presuming that's what they're getting to. But yeah, it's one of those ones. I agree. It's why doesn't he not notice that? That is a good question. Unfortunately, we can't have him sitting with somebody in a bar going,
So Sol,
mistake.
An interview with Master Sol.
Yeah, confessing his issues that he's had, and he made a mistake to it. But yeah, it's context again. But let's go. Yeah, they race the thing. They both escape in a ship towards this lovely planet with its rings, or ring, whatever you want to call it.
It is almost rings, isn't it? It's like two rings, one on top of the other. It was very interesting to see.
Oh, absolutely gorgeous that. Absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, why did Basil break those circuits? Okay, it managed to knock the ship in front before he actually
Yeah, but why did he do it?
Did he go to try to save him? So, because I'm sure So was trying to ram May's ship.
Possibly, or tether it or something.
Yeah,
but like May tried to attack Basil. Basil knows she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't get it.
I don't. But is that supposed to be a potential mystery that for further down the line, or is it just
what that they just don't explore and reveal?
Maybe they reveal it later.
I don't think they did. Oh, you mean they might bring it up to? Well, no, I hope not, because I'm not convinced there will be a season 2, and that'll just moops him even more.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to go into the season 2 on this one, because that's what I want for the review.
Yeah.
My thoughts for the overview of the season, and I've got huge opinions on that.
Oh, good, because so have I.
So
have I.
Excuse me there. But that is a good thing, and that is one that's like I was expecting an answer for in the final episode.
I was expecting it later. Yeah. It's sort of what's going on here, and it's the first piece of several in this episode.
Yeah.
Where you have a point and you go, "Ooh, that'll lead to something," and it doesn't.
Yeah. I'm hoping it doesn't. Oh, anyway, but we'll go on to future things. The problem being, if there is no season 2, and it's you leave it at that, and they were going to explain it then.
And you know what? If there's no season 2, we've got bigger things to moan about.
Yeah.
Regarding the fact there will be no season 2, if that's what ends up happening, which again we'll get to very shortly.
So let's get off that one because we're basically saying the same. It's like
it's just like WTF, Basil. Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, and he has a word with one of the Jedi later. Yeah. We don't know what about. He was hopefully doing his job, but we didn't get the whole conversation. Okay, back to Coruscant. Back to Coruscant this episode. We see Senator Drayon. I forgot what the actor's called, but I recognise him from I think Supergirl. But I'm sure I've seen him in other things as well.
He's been in a few things. Good actor. Remember. He's a good actor.
Yeah, lovely actor. No. Before we actually get on to him, I want to say I have started, especially in this episode, she's done it before, Vanessa and the doors. Opening the doors.
She's a proper Jedi, isn't she? That's what we do at our automatic doors whenever we go to the supermarket. And she just, but she does it with this whole opens the door, as in you're going now, and I don't need to say anything because I've just opened the door. So bye.
No, that scene. So, let's see if I can remember what's written on my screen here. So, the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion and delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable. Controllable. So, excuse me if you hear the piece of paper move. There we are. And I did have to go on to. Oh no, I think that is the end of the senator paragraph actually, but there was a little bit more. But that's from our dear senator saying that.
What I would say to that is it just makes clear something that has been quite apparent for most of the season. This season is all about highlighting the fact that the Jedi are not perfect. The Jedi have flaws. They are, individual beings with their own emotions, with their own choices, and if they choose wrong and it starts to go down a path, and they're flawed. It's just, I think, taking all those little messages that we've been seeing about that in all the episodes, just rounding it up in a politician's very brutal sentence. And he's not wrong. Let's be honest.
And maybe the Jedi have got more political, and I've seen that, especially with a certain person, they've got more political over the years, and we get that in a way, even though that was not necessarily always emphasized in the prequel films, that the Jedi are they fully protectors of the peace, or have they come more than that? Have they become the Knights Templar, where it's just like, they are their own. They are the Senate. They are the.
Maybe not that far, but yes, I get your premise.
But it cannot be seen as that.
Yeah, it could definitely be seen as that. They are very powerful. They're their own entity. They're not governed by anyone other than themselves. That's the Senator's problem. I think as far as he's concerned, the Jedi should report to the Republic. The Republic should control whatever they're doing. And the Jedi won't be for that. Whereas you see a very different view in the prequel trilogy from the Jedi. But then I need to remind myself as I'm saying that in the prequel trilogy, we are seeing the view of the Jedi High Council, not the level of the Jedi organization that we're seeing in the Acolyte. It's a very different level of that Jedi hierarchy.
Oh, very true. Other than maybe one person who is, I think one person who is I think she is on the High Council, but I'm not 100% sure.
No, if you're talking about Venestra, no, I don't think she is. And I think there's a key reason why I think that she isn't, and it's because when she asks to see a certain someone that we'll talk about shortly, the response from the person on the intercom is, "Well, this is extremely irregular, but I will see what I can do." Right? If she was part of the High Council, she wouldn't need to do that. She'd see him. She'd see him in the council meetings.
Yeah.
So no. That's why I think she is a master. She's not on the council.
Fair enough. Okay, I think we've done that to not quite to death, but don't know. Other than
we're getting a bit we're digressing a bit on these points, but it's because it's a final episode and it's pulling everything together. So there's all these little ties and little pieces that we keep going off on because they're tying up ends or trying to tie up ends.
And which is why I'm trying to spend more time on it and give opinions, because I've got these are opinions, almost the end of a story. Or
it is.
A
well,
chapter.
It's meant to be.
Yeah.
It's meant to be.
Yeah. We do get Chancellor mentioned, Chancellor Prelec, who I believe we see later on. But yeah, there's a Chancellor there. I don't have much more to say. I was expecting, I'm not sure I highlighted that because I was expecting something from that. But not other than we saw.
Yeah, again, you expect more to come of it and it doesn't.
Like, well, I presume it was a him. I've got no idea. Anyway, we're going back to the island where that makes me sound like I'm about to go into a song there. Back to Ibiza, but not Ibiza. The mysterious island, the only one that we have not got a name for. So
indeed, another loose thread that isn't tied.
I think that's a good thing, though, and that, my opinion, is they haven't given the name out of what that is, because it's a mystery to the Jedi, mystery to everybody. It's like, where are the Sith hiding?
It's not a mystery to the people on the island.
No, it's not.
Which at this point includes Osha, who's our protagonist.
Well, by the time she gets in the ship, she probably knows where they are.
Yeah.
Not when
she'd have to in order to know where she's going.
Yeah. Now, I think it should still be hidden for us until possibly the end of the Acolyte, whenever the end of that is. Unfortunately, we don't know when that is.
I agree with you for one reason, and I will get to that later.
Okay.
I say that a lot. That's my phrase for the episode. We'll get to that later.
Oh. In that case, and later, I'm going to be shutting up for about half an hour, letting Olympus go. So.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. You're just going to go.
10 hours later.
Yeah.
Okay, get up, have a shave, and thing. And it's like, oh, thank you, Olympus. I'll go now. But I was about to say that's that, but it's not really. They've decided to work together, and there is a person we see other than Kamir and May.
This is what I wanted to get to. Then, do you know who that person is? Because I know who that person is.
I've been on Twitter. I'm not 100% convinced if it is the same person, but...
Okay. Before you went onto social media, did you know who that was? Because I saw him right away and I knew exactly who he was immediately.
I didn't.
I'm saying I knew exactly what it was. The writers could turn around and say it's not.
But I only knew a name. I did not know a face, and...
Right, okay. The image I have of this character comes from the face of a novel called Plagius. So that's how I knew right away when I saw him that was Plagius. Now, I say that he's in the shadows. The writers and whatever for this show could very easily turn around and go, "Oh no, that's not Plagius," and we're like, "Oh, okay, fine then," but we're pretty sure it was. But they control the story. As far as I'm concerned right now, unless they decide to turn around and deny it, it's Plagius. And this is one of the most annoying parts of this episode for me.
Oh?
That needed more. And not in that scene, but in the episode. You needed something else to that. Don't just randomly have him peeking out of a cave, and that's it. Don't do that to us. Not when there's so much uncertainty going around whether this is going to continue or not. And by the way, if it doesn't continue, I blame the toxic fan base. But that's it. I won't say anything more about that right now. I'm getting so emotive. Look, Ben's using the force. He's like, calm your mind, Olympus. Calm your mind.
Okay. We are, as I said, trying not to get on what we wanted another episode to go into what we're.
And that's why I'm not going to say anything else. I'm not going to say anything about it. I promise.
When I'll do my best. This is obviously a hint for passing on for a next season that we find out more.
Yeah.
But this is going. This is how many programs have you got? And there you go. There you go. Where's this randomly come from? They've not done any pre-selling, not anything. You got no idea about this, and you wish they had mentioned it in season 1 when the something comes up in season 3.
Yeah, but
and it's like,
I can't help it. I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry, I can't help it. It doesn't make sense that he's there.
Okay, why not?
Because Khmer is looking for an apprentice for him, right? Plagius is part of the to my understanding. Comments, please correct me if I'm wrong here. I'd love it if you did. But Plagius is part of the line from Bane, following the rule of 2.
Yes.
So if Plagius was following that, and Khmer was Plagius's acolyte, right? Assume that for a moment. As soon as Plagius sees Khmer trying to find an acolyte, Plagius should be killing him. The end. Gone.
But what's the level of Sith, to my knowledge? When I say Sith, it's the organisation. You have the guy, you have his apprentice, and then the acolytes, at least from the thing, are the people that he's potentially training, bringing up to be trained for to be the next.
No, so if you're thinking from a perspective of the Old Republic,
I'm simply using my knowledge from there.
Then absolutely yes, right? Right, you've got a whole hierarchy. There's thousands of Sith. All that, the whole culture's in place. They're an army. The rule of 2 has not been established at that point. Yes, so absolutely, right. Yeah, you're right. By this point in the timeline, and I'm talking using like KOTOR and the Old Republic aren't canon, so
yes, I know.
I'm mixing canon and not canon here, but assuming it's all the one thing. The rule of 2's been established by the point of the Acolyte, so there can only be 2.
Yes. Okay. So how do they work out potentially who's going to be next in line once one person is died?
The Master.
Do they have a role of 1 for a while?
Very potentially. Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, that's what Sidious had. So Sidious had Maul, but he had his eye on a successor to Maul just in case. Maul ended. He brings that successor in. That successor was Dooku, right?
Yeah.
So he has Dooku, but he has his eye on his end game, which was Vader.
By the time we got to Dooku, I would say yes, they would know about Anakin.
Yeah. He knew about Anakin. He was trying to groom Anakin at that point.
But Adam Mo, was he 100% convinced at that stage that Anakin was going to be?
No, he didn't know. He didn't know about Well, to our knowledge, he didn't know about Anakin at that point.
But
he didn't have his end game yet. But then he becomes Chancellor in that film. So he's not even Chancellor at the start of that yet. So his plan hasn't even started to come to fruition yet.
Yeah, but what 2 things is like I'm thinking? A, bear in mind I have not read any of the books, and there's very few games have I actually played that are necessarily considered canon. Actually, none of them are considered canon, to be honest, of the games I've played. And so my points were going to be, if I can suddenly get my thoughts back, is who says the rule of 2 has to work exactly like that, or is it just
no one?
you have your 2 guys, that these are official Sith. The rest of them are thing. And who doesn't say Plagueis is going to go, I am getting ready to be overthrown to keep this going. This is how we work. It's like, I know I'm going to die and be taken over by my apprentice, and then I know that I have somebody in place to take over from my apprentice.
Ben, has anyone ever told you the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Remember what Plagueis was seeking?
Immortal life. So
to avoid him ever being overthrown.
True.
Right? Because that's what they're always after. They get too power hungry. That's the downfall.
True. But maybe he actually, thinking about that, getting my thoughts back to reality there, is he trying to stop that, but is he trying to stop the backstabbing against him and having an Acolyte backstabbing against the apprentice?
You know, I love that. I do love the theory and the logic behind it. And would an Acolyte count? Which I think might have been your original point.
Yes. It
has taken you 10 minutes to convince me of your original point. I'm so sorry. That to bring me around to it. that he doesn't consider an Acolyte as part of what would be Sith. Therefore, it doesn't break the rule of 2. Very, very possibly. Okay. That took a lot. It's because I'm so passionate and emotive about all of this now that it's all concluded, and I know where they've taken it all. I'm a bit, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's a great moment for me to go, and then blank it to like 10 minutes later, and then come back and you're just like, at last.
Yeah. Okay, I did make the mistake of going for. I sort of did know the eternal life, but it was just like, oh yeah. I messed up on that one slightly, but it's not the.
I am loving this debate, mate. I know we kind of went off on a total tangent there, but oh my god, it was such a brilliant tangent. That was phenomenal.
That's
if I do say so myself, not I'm biased or anything like that.
So how many bits into it? Four chapters, or about half my half of my first side of A4.
I was about to say we're halfway there, but we're not.
Quarter of the way. Okay. In that case, we're back to Brendok very briefly. We have getting to the witch base, and Basil sniffing on the ship, not being held by. So, is he going? He's more hassle than he's worth. I'm not going to even bother with him. I've got better other priorities. Or is there a reason?
I honestly don't know. And again, they never really actually establish it. So honestly, that little bit there on the ship with Basil, I was just like, move on.
Yes. Okay. In that case, back to Coruscant.
That was not Ben move on. That was Basil move on. Just to be clear.
No, I know, but it was like
that was a nice transition, wasn't it?
Yeah, come on, I'm trying to do this properly, and it's like you take.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I felt bad. I thought.
Joking aside, anyway. Anyway, where were we?
Coruscant.
We had a message from somebody. The voice in my head, after hearing it a couple of times, sounded familiar. When they're talking to Vanessa, I almost did think of Sidious for a second, and then it's like, no, is that too early? Got to be too early. Yeah, this is the one you were saying was about being unorthodox, trying to do something unorthodox.
Yeah, I found it. Again, same. I recognise the voice. Couldn't tell you who it was. I have to do some research into that. But yeah, exactly. It's unorthodox, but I will see what I can do for you.
Yeah. No, I did. It sounded for me, and I went, is that somebody who's supposed to know? Maybe, but maybe I'm looking too much into that. Who knows?
Funny, I'm getting deja vu. Actually, we've had this before when we were talking. I think it was a Picard episode that we reviewed together, and there was a voice that we recognized, and I was like, is it this person? Is it that person? I'm not quite sure. I'm getting deja vu here that we've had this conversation before.
Entirely possible. But I think this has got to be near as damn it the end of our jumping around until right to the end.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think you might be right.
To Brendok now.
Hey, everyone watching and listening, guess what? You actually get us to talk about the episode consistently for the next few minutes. Woo!
Yeah. Back to Brendok, the Witcher's base. Osha and Khmer finally getting there after leaving the island, realizing Sol's there, or and possibly May, and May. I'm sure they know that May's there as well. Before we get started, I like that they all have, including the other Jedi in the future, all have a different way of getting into this building.
Yeah.
So I presume climbed up again.
He likes to climb, Sol.
Yeah. Because we don't see the door open, or fixed. So I'm presuming, or the lift. So we're presuming he went up. So May had her way she escaped, going in and climbing up. I'm forgetting characters. Osha. Oh, I probably got the names wrong way around there. May climbed under. Osha fixed the door, but realised Khmer had his own. I'm still calling him Khmer rather than the Stranger, which is something that's coming up in the thing and
socials,
closed captions and socials and stuff, and yeah. Who I'm wondering if he went in like the Witcher's doing a move through the doors like Smokey. We don't actually see how he got in, to be honest. I think he's like done something similar to the Witchers. He went into like that black, it's like misty thing, and possibly went through the walls.
Possibly.
That's my headcanon anyway, until told otherwise. And then we find out the Jedi later. Venestra opens the door with force. So there must be some reason why the other Jedi in the past have not done that by force.
Maybe that wasn't the elevator door she opened, though, was it? I thought that was it. Maybe I'm wrong. I need to rewatch it. I thought that was a different door.
Maybe it was a different door, but...
Because I was thinking, is that a different door? And if it is, why the heck did 4 previous Jedi years ago not find it?
Yeah, and... Because they went to the lift thing that Osha tried opening. And that was... the other Jedi. I presume the original Jedi, and all the other 3. But yeah, the Jedi must have gone that way as well, I'm presuming. I'm thinking they got the same way.
They must. Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I think that they must have gone that way.
But maybe because Osha used the lift already, so they had that open.
So she just used her force powers to open it instead of the button. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, actually thinking about it. But I was thinking she was the strongest opener, but that's probably the reason. But again, my point is, I love every way, every person or every group of people I've had in this episode a different way to get into the building.
Brilliant, eh?
Like it. Maybe it's my like Star Trek Adventures D&D style thinking of have multiple entrances through a dungeon or a ship that I may go. Love it.
Oh.
But anyway, we did miss something earlier, but we're going to get onto that in a minute. I'm looking at the wrong notes. So, Sol is going around searching for May, screaming out, and trying to find her to have a talk again. And then we get the fight between Khmer and Sol. Sol going, I'm paraphrasing, glad we finally meet again.
And I'll tell you what, again, another brilliant lightsaber battle. Sol won that one.
Yes.
He won it hands down, almost without breaking a sweat.
Yeah, he did. And you almost see a Khmer at one point towards the end of the first part where it cuts away, is him almost like swiping into complete air miles, or not literally miles, but what probably felt like miles away from Seoul. And it cuts, and it's like he looks like he's swinging, and he looks like he's panicking.
Part panicking. I have my own theory behind that, about why he suddenly didn't perform quite so well in that in that fight. My theory is he's only trying to delay Sol. He's not trying to fight him. He's not trying to kill him. He's trying to delay him for the twins.
No, I can believe that. I didn't think about it, but
because he actually says that, doesn't he? He turns around to Sol and says, it's not, it's something like, it's not me you have to watch for. Not if they kill you
first.
Say that again.
Not if they kill you first.
There you go. That's what it is, and that's why I'm thinking right away. That's what he was doing.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, but that bridge tower, rampart, whatever it is, where we saw the witches with the bows previously, them going along that and the lightsaber almost not quite completely going through the, let's call it a wall there, electronic panels, whatever, but partially going through that, and you can see the spark and stuff going along the lines of where that came. That was really good.
It was nice.
And then that jump off at the back, which was in slow motion, with So coming jumping backwards and then Khmer forward.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
The whole slow motion backwards landing. It wasn't even a fall, was it? It was a backwards land.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the second time. The choreography throughout the season has been stellar. It's been second to none.
Yeah. No, I agree. The fight scenes.
The lightsaber and the hand-to-hand, both of them.
Hand cans. Yeah. They're slightly different. I do like that. And I think you also saw a double kick from somebody. So like, don't think it might have been Khmer on So, or was it the other way around? I cannot remember.
Sol on Khmer.
Sol on Khmer. It's like kicking. Nothing
very Matrixy.
Yeah, I'm wondering if because they had a certain person and they had the Matrix, or they thinking Matrix stuff and went, "Oh, good to have her in it too."
Possibly, yeah. Actually, that's a fair point. Yeah, because it's Trinity, isn't it?
Yes.
So
you've said Matrixy before, and it was like me going, "Yeah, I can't argue with that."
And I can't believe I've said it so many episodes and never actually clicked until this moment that she's Trinity.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant, but that could be part of the influence. The other thing is showing you a different style of the Jedi from before the original 6 movies, which is fine, and also it just feels more realistic to me as well that they would utilize the Force in these kinds of ways compared to, you see a lot of pushing, a lot of Force pulling and that stuff in the prequels, but you don't see them really, lifting themselves up into the air or cushioning their fall in the middle of a fight and all that. You don't really see that kind of happening, but you do in this, and I think that's a lot more realistic from a Star Wars point of view for me. I say realistic about a sci-fi show, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's because all you have is some big jumps up and down, and then it's all about the sword fight, basically. I say sword fight very deliberately, as in it's as if it is a sword fight from modern times when you don't have the Force, with the odd maybe jump over somebody or jump onto something. When I say jump over, I mean Anakin's attempt to fail miserably at jumping over Obi-Wan. But but mainly it's jumping onto other things, jumping down and jumping up onto higher objects.
Yeah, exactly that. Before we continue, I'm just going to give everyone an apology for the 3 or 4 Discord badunks that you just heard, because I forgot to disconnect my Discord before starting the recording. I have opened it up on my phone now, so we won't hear it again.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be able to edit those out, so I am sorry.
I've made that mistake on something before.
Oh no! It just did it again, despite the fact my phone's open. What is this all about?
Well, I didn't hear it. Hopefully it misses on the recording, but then again, it's under your...
It's under mine. Yeah, you won't hear it, but I do. Okay. Any Discord beeps, I am terribly sorry.
Okay. And then that with my comment of frustrated Khmer, which was mentioned already, is we head to the room where I presume Osha's bedroom, maybe both of their bedrooms, I don't know, but their bedroom where they meet again. Any thoughts on the interaction between the match of Osha and May?
I was going to say, the initial interaction, seen it before, the fight between the two of them, very well choreographed. Again, very martial arty. I'm a big fan of that. Loved it. And you know what? Hats off, both from the two actresses' perspectives, because it is a stunt double always doing one part of this while the actress is doing the other.
So if we can see the face of one person,
it's a stunt double on the other. So
hats
off to both of them and to the team working on cinematography, the camera angles, all that stuff, because we know what to look for to know that it's two different people. But if you didn't know that, it would convince you. They did a really good job of it.
It is, and when you see Osha do the flip back over her shoulders and back up again,
yeah, that was cool. Because that was down to miss one, up to miss another. That was really cool.
Yeah, and it's just like, hang on, has she got? I was about to say, has she got a mojo back? I think she's got a mojo back and something else.
Yeah,
and it was just like, this is where she's gone. I've got the power, and I was about to say something else here, but I cannot remember what it was. So please quickly get onto something while I try to remember.
Yeah, it really showed me at that point what I was starting to get an impression of an episode or so before, which is that May and Osha were switching roles.
That was what I was going to mention. Actually.
Yeah, and I saw this as Osha coming into her own, but she's coming into her own by channeling all of those negative emotions. So this whole convincing manipulation, whatever you want to call it, from Khmer or the Stranger, is working.
Yeah, and actually, this is probably very obvious from the start, but at this one episode, I didn't really did notice the color of the outfits. A light or white, dirty with muddy outfit, and the other one's a very dark black,
sleek, cool looking
outfit. So it was just like, that's possibly where they're heading. Not necessarily there is what to say, but that's where, this is going to be person on the good light side, person on the dark side. Unless you have any more to say, we're back to I think the Republic ship coming back. Back to the courtyard, I say, and the Jedi Order ship coming in. You see it actually go over both of the groups of characters as well, and it's like they're here. Oh, for most of them, it's like either a sign of relief, and then realize, and then the other saying, actually, you're not safe, and then the other one going, oh God, they're here. Oh, basically everybody else going, they're here.
Yeah. Soul was very much almost cocky, because by this point he's destroyed Khmer's lightsaber. He's beaten Khmer down, and he's got victory. the Jedi come across. He's like, there you go, sorted. In fact, I think that's it. I might have skipped a little bit there, but at any rate, Saul's winning, if not already won.
Yeah.
The Jedi come over. He's like, I've got this nailed down now. And as you say, Camille goes, they're not here for me. They're not actually here for me. They think they're here for me, but they're not here for me.
Yeah. And yeah, you have, basically, yes, that's it. And you have, I was just looking up, May goes outside, disappears from the bedroom. And yeah, Camille's helmet comes off. I don't know if he's entirely ready to die, but he's going, I'm sort of like ready to die, but I'm expecting something to happen here other than this.
I'm gonna say he's wise. He's shrewd. He's calculated. He's intelligent. Is what I'm trying to say. He knows there's a very high chance that May is about to run in, and he was right.
He was, yeah. And May comes running in, knocking. Not completely surprisingly, but still surprisingly to a degree. It's just like, it's like that. That comes out, and you see Osha eventually after. Was it a bit of a scuffle? Yeah, that's probably about it. Osha picks up a lightsaber, and you have no, you have May. No, hang on. Yeah, Osha picks up the lightsaber.
Hang on. Sorry. So if I remember this right, May comes in, knocks the lightsaber out of his hand, swoops in front, picks it up with the Force, doesn't ignite it.
Yeah, just like the premonition.
Just like Jen, and we think this is it. We think it's this point, and then she gets him to admit that he killed her mum, while Osha's in the background, just walking in, hearing it.
Yes.
But at some point during that, I can't remember how it happens. Saul's lightsaber gets knocked and partially damaged, and you can see the blue crystal. That's a very important piece.
Yeah, and Osha picks it up.
Yeah.
At this point, before she actually reveals herself to being.
That's right. Yeah. And when I first watched this, I thought the visibility of that crystal partly broken, or at least it looked partly broken. Yeah. I thought that was very symbolic of Saul's current situation, right? I
completely agree.
At least that's what I thought. But then, of course, go on.
Yeah, and then you have Osha clearly hears that, and May is deliberately going, "You've got to say this. You've got to confess.
You've got to admit it."
And is this true? You hear Osha say, and then it's like, stop talking. Her hands are out of, at least one hand is out of vision at this point. And it's obviously, we find out in the conversation previous before, that Osha, Osha is struggles with her emotions. Okay, that's very broad circle. So she struggles with her anger towards the death of her, especially her family, and her sister's actions. And she's like, basically goes, stop talking. So carries on, and it's just like, and then it's just like, you see a hand, and it's like, so choking more, and it's just like, eventually you hear it's okay, and I don't know, I didn't hear it first of all. I heard him say something, but I couldn't hear it. It was the subtitles that I saw, and it was like, it's okay. And unfortunately he passed away, and she kneeled down, very sad. But I know I'm missing out one thing, I think, in the middle of that. And do you have anything to add before
I didn't get a sense of her being sad. I got a sense of her being relieved. I got a sense of a big weight lifting off of her. I did not like this. In terms of a narrative step, I didn't like that he died. At least that way, and by OSHA. On the flip side, it's another flip of roles between May and OSHA.
Yeah,
For the first half of the series, you've got May striving to kill these Jedi, seeking revenge, full of hate, and OSHA very much on the path of, capture May, make her answer for her crimes. She has to live for that. She has to, do all that stuff. Don't kill her. Now you've got this flipped round where just before that scene happens, May is saying, no, I'm not going to strike him down. I want him to face the Jedi Council. I want him to face the Senate. I want him to own up to what he did and pay the price for it. And OSHA wants to kill him, but she actually does.
yeah.
And that's the difference between OSHA and May. Every single Jedi May killed was with a weapon. And obviously, I won't even say the next bit, but it was always with a weapon. It was always with a lot of calculated effort. Whereas OSHA was full of rage and anger, full of emotion, didn't hesitate. And Sol saying it's okay just didn't add up for me either. I didn't like that line either. I also felt like he got away with it in the end.
Yeah. The thing is,
I mean, at one point, even he said he wanted to face the Jedi Council and own up to everything. I feel like that should have happened, but again, maybe it's just that whole message of corruption.
Yeah, you would have had to have another reason for it to be put covered up, and it's easier to do it with him out of the way. The more people there to say this happened, we had these people, the more likely that there's like some of the things said in the prequels didn't.
Yeah, true.
Are them saying this is a lie because they are really thinking this would have come out to most of these people there. And if it's just one person lying, it's easier.
Yeah. I didn't like where they took. Obviously, they took the story the way they took it. I accept what they did. I was not. I wasn't pleased about it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think it made things. I know. I can see the message they were putting across. I feel like it weakened the story.
No, I agree. First time I walked through, I didn't like her turn to the dark side. Her turn. Second time, actually liked it a lot better, but I still hated that scene. That I think like I'm supposed to. Yeah,
I think that's a fair point you've just made, though. We're supposed to hate it. This is the bad guys winning. Remember.
Yeah.
And that is a very strong, courageous thing to do. But equally, I guess it was foreshadowed from the start. The series is called The Acolyte.
The Acolyte. Yeah, and actually, I haven't mentioned this right out, but I was the first part watching through this. It was like I was reminding myself, this is called The Acolyte. This is the bad guys.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It foreshadowed OSHA's turn from the very start.
Yes.
Right. The protagonist through this whole series has not been May.
Yeah.
It's been OSHA. The show is called The Acolyte after the protagonist, as we know now. Who is OSHA? OSHA's the Acolyte. OSHA's been the Acolyte all along.
Yes. And this is not necessarily the good guys being thinking. This is not necessarily a bad guy being good, like you would see in Rogue One and Andor, or with Han Solo, who is the rogue you love to hate to love, no, love to love. This is supposed to be bad people who you can see their point why they're being bad.
I think
Yeah.
I agree with that, and I take it one step further. This is actually a show about a group of people who are flawed, as
Yes.
all people are.
Yeah.
Whether you're Jedi, whether you're Sith, whether you're good, whether you're bad. Yeah, and actually, it forms that message again, doesn't it? That no one person is all good or all bad. I mean, you see May doing a couple of good things. You see Osha doing more good things. You see them both doing bad things. You
Even
see
Kamir's
where
being
Kamir's
reasonably.
coming from. Actually, you can understand some of his messaging and some of the reasons behind what's led him to what he's doing. You can empathize a little bit on that front too. Sol and the other Jedi, it is very much all round an empathy, not an empathy thing. It's all round
Yeah.
flawed people thing.
Yeah. It's about the story. Now, on that, I'm going to say one next thing in that is basically the bleeding of the crystals. You see it partially in the lightsaber, then you see it fully when she ignites the lightsaber.
On the flip of, like, obviously the instant before you see Sol being murdered, did not like what they did with that part of the story. 1 second later, the lightsaber bleeding in live action, which I've only ever seen in a computer game. Oh my god, that was phenomenal. So good. And again, the
Yeah.
symbolism around that, the messaging around that is very, very powerful.
Yes.
Because it's
It
Sol's
is.
as well. Bear in mind, it's Sol's saber, it's Sol's crystal.
Yeah, and yeah, you see that happen very slightly to start with, or it's partially in the crystal, and then it's just like, yeah, completely. I don't have much more to say about that. I I don't I suppose I sort of liked it on the base of it. Yeah, like it. Think about it. Hmm. Yeah, I suppose the idea is that it gives off the emotion of the person. I presume.
It's yeah. I wouldn't look at the red being ooh baddie, which obviously everyone who watches Star Wars relates it to because the bad guys hold red lightsabers. But remember, in Ahsoka, you've got two certain mercenary Force users with orange lightsabers, not red, right? The bleeding of a lightsaber, as you've just said, Ben, for me, it's all about emotion. It's when you're channeling those raw negative emotions whilst in contact with a kyber crystal. That's what turns it red. Um, and you know what? Jedi try to control their emotions and keep them contained and be peaceful and zen. So that's why none of them have red lightsabers.
Which is fair enough. So yeah, I think that rounds up that thought about it. Um, Next thing we see is basically May and Osha get out. We find the route out of the how basically how May got out originally, and we end up with them under the under that tree, which
Where it all began.
basically Sisters United is what I've got written down here. For a bit, they basically make up, and you have Kamir coming. If I can hear you, so can they. Referring to the Jedi.
Yeah.
Um,
If I can
any
find
thought?
you, that was it. If I can find you, so can they.
Yeah, that's the word. Okay, sorry. Yes,
No, no,
my
no,
words
no.
were slightly wrong, but I was paraphrasing on that one.
I've got nothing to really add to that. It was a bit of a filler bit. They had to have it in there to show the continuation of the narrative.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have anything other than the obvious thing that I'm missing, but the sisters' interaction before Kamir says he will attempt, I say attempt to wipe the memory.
I love how you've been very specific with the question. Because I've got a lot that I think about him wiping her memory. I've got a lot of things to say about that. In terms of their interaction before it. Oh, wait. Are you talking about before they know he's going to do it? Or are you talking about the whole bit before he actually does it?
I think I was mainly the bit just before. No, they know that he's going to do it, but
Okay.
just as they're about to have. But any other bit referring to them, they're going through
it's rounding off the messaging that they're one person. They've got this rhyme, which, funnily enough, says from the very start that they're actually one person. How did we miss that? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but it's been there all along.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention I was going to bring back up is that, sorry for this.
No, don't be.
That they go, you're mentioned twice by and we forgot to mention, they're saying you're not sisters, you're not twins.
Yeah, you're the one person.
Yeah, basically probably saying that you're the same person, you're one person.
It was very No, I get what you're saying. That the whole I'm struggling a bit here because I've got so many emotions around the roundups of this episode, but the twins saying they're I'm not even gonna go into it. It was lacking for me, and you know what? You know why it was lacking? Because I don't see the bloody point why he had to wipe her memory and why she had to stay behind. I just don't understand why. It wasn't explained. There was no driver for it. I mean, they could have taken her with them, and it would have been fine. They could both have been trained up. Like, am I missing again? People, please comment in the stuff on YouTube and tell me, because I like to think I'm quite good at analyzing media, of a variety of things. I don't get this. It's another part of this episode I just don't get, and it's actually one of the more annoying bits for me. It was pointless. That's why it annoys me. It was utterly pointless.
Maybe I find these things easier to go. It's like, what's the reason? Oh, God knows. Okay, next problem. And maybe in my head I intentionally.
It's because I invested so much time into this series because I wanted it. It's the first not New Republic. It's the first High Republic era live action show. I've been enjoying it the whole way through. I wanted them to round it off in a strong way that could help continue it on, and it's just full of random bits and meaningless bits and pointless bits and confusing bits, and I'm frustrated, Ben. I'm really frustrated.
I'm maybe not that bit. I can understand the rest of it. I like that little bit of mystery and having to talk about it, but this,
I like mystery, right? I love mystery. That I can, but I hate pointlessness.
Yeah,
right?
I think
there's no mystery as to why they left her there. That was a plot point that they had to write in to move it along to the ending they wanted, and it was weak as moopsy.
Yes, it was, and maybe I think their only point is, for some reason, they don't want them to keep trying to come back to each other, or find them through their sister, possibly.
They could take this two ways, which we'll get into properly next week. But so far, the two ways I see are either The Acolyte Season 2 or something new that will probably still involve Khmer and Osha, but won't be called The Acolyte. It'll be called something else, and it'll continue it on that way. Something about Plagueis or something like that.
Yeah, but they want a memory and
pointlessly. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry. That annoyed me.
To be honest, on that one, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. It was just like,
you can, if you want to argue with me, go ahead, please, because I love debate. But oh my god, that was so annoying.
No, not even. And in this one, I'm not even wanting to play devil's advocate. Was this one? It's. I am happy at the best of times to go play devil's advocate.
Yeah,
this occasion, no.
And I know I'm onto something when we can't even play devil's advocate with it, because I love a game of devil's advocate. I absolutely love it, but you can't even do that with that decision. Anyway, right, let's move on before
Anyway,
I just
let's
go around in
move to
circles.
Coruscant. Yeah, let's move to Coruscant. You say May come in, and then you have the whole back and forth of got no memory. There's this good person that done something horrible, had it all blamed on. So you saw a bit of his funeral out on the water. You had them talking to the Senate, and you had the Senator trying to go, we don't need a vote, we need to just get to looking into these. And I will mention the last bit on my notes here. You have Vanestra going, need you to help find someone I knew before he turned to evil.
So, alongside that point, this is a bit that we forgot to mention a little bit earlier on. I've been waiting to get to this point to say it because I realized we missed it.
So did I.
It's like we planned these. And obviously there is the connection that we thought there would be between Vanestra and Camille. It is a lightsaber whip scar on his back. But it's another very annoying point, and I can accept this one a little bit more because this could be a continuation in the next series. I can feel that a little bit more this time, but it was still such a small little bit, and you get nothing more from it, and I'm just very annoyed about that. Like I wanted a bit more. I wanted a bit of I wanted like a face off, or even just a glance at each other and then they were gone, or you know, just something more than him slinking away and run. He almost, it felt like he was running away.
Which I suppose, in theory,
he probably was
trying to hide from, or trying to hide them from the Jedi.
But the difference is she now knows that he exists.
Yes.
Which leads.
But can he pick the fight location? One thing they say about the Roman Empire, when they go to fight, when they are at their best, which is most of the time, they pick the battle site.
Yeah. They're in control, basically.
They've got to be in control.
They're on the front foot.
Yeah. So maybe that is Camille being, there.
You're onto something with that. Camille picked the battle site on the planet where the Wookiee Jedi was.
Yes.
Right? He picked that battle site. It was a massacre. It was a bloodbath. He didn't pick the Brendok battle site, and he lost to Sol. I know there's an argument that he lost on purpose, but he lost.
Yeah. And yes, no, completely agree.
And actually, I forgot to mention the lightsaber throws. Oh, I have to bring those up.
Yes.
How bloody good are those? To see lightsaber throws in a live action as well. He does them so well.
I agree, and the defense from the two coming from behind as well.
And Sol's matrixy type, and all of and everyone being pushed back with the fourth, and including the lightsabers. That was brilliant. That piece was one of my favorite parts of that whole battle. Sorry, jumped again. So if there isn't anything else, you can tell me in a sec. I'll be moving to the bit that I was wanting to have for the entire series.
Can I just say, the one bit I don't like is when they're back on the Master's Mystery Island, them basically holding the lightsaber slash hands. Do not like that.
Yeah, that I agree. I'm gonna pause there for a minute as well. That just felt wrong.
Yes.
It felt very wrong. Like what type of message you're trying to give there, I'm not sure. Like it's totally mixed. And now can I do it?
I'll move.
10 minutes later. And then you see Yoda. Yeah, I'm so happy that they got Yoda in at the very end. And I am Oh, I've just noticed my audio input capture's gone like through the roof. Sorry. I'm probably gonna have to. It's still doing it. What's that happening? Hang on. Let me just settle the mic.
It has had a couple of issues before the break, but I didn't notice it there.
Let's try now. Is that better? That's better. I had to settle the mic down. I think what happened is I yelled so loudly and so excitedly that it adjusted everything upwards. Yeah. So Yoda. We get to Yoda. So Yoda's obviously the master that Fenestra's trying to see. Earlier on that she was told, oh, this is improper, but we'll do our best. She wants to talk to him. First and foremost, my thoughts are she needs to talk to him about what's happened with Sol and the likes. She needs to bring all that to his attention. But she'll have an additional piece of information that she needs to bring to his attention now, which she didn't know at the point of asking to see him, which is Kamir. Because as far as she's concerned, Kamir was dead, and he's not dead. So it feels like there's a deeper conspiracy going on here. Because she talks about, at some point in the episode, she talks about her student who turned to evil. But the Jedi don't know about any students who turn to evil, do they? So they obviously do. And yeah, just seeing his little green bald head and the ears while he's sitting down there, just like, yeah. And you know what? They did it the right way. You didn't have a proper scene with him talking and that. So it can't be seen as lip service to fans trying to uplift the series in any way. It was just a cute little cameo right at the very end. Just as a little tick in the box, which was lovely. They did that in a very nice way. I'm very happy they did it. And yeah, I'll stop there. Yoda!
Yeah. No, the comment was, yes, sorry to disturb you, Master. We need to talk.
Oh, they need to talk.
What they need to talk, what they're talking about is probably absolutely nothing to do with exactly what happened.
Oh, I think it is, but okay.
Yeah, okay. It probably is something to do with, oh, come here, I've got somebody who hunted down this person who was killing these Jedi. Because Yoda's got to know about it, or at least heard rumors that, if nothing else,
she's had to report it to the Senate. So
yes, and the Senate know about this murder. So Yoda's gone. He's not that stupid to not know. So
and you know what? I will say that as a round off of sorts, not the whole thing, but to round off my comments on this. Another thing I don't like, but I appreciate why they did it. She blames Sol for everything. Publicly, it's all Sol, and that's why because you see her kneel down in that second scene when you see it again when she kneels down over him, and this time you hear her say to him, "I'm sorry, my friend," right? It's like it's like she's saying, I'm sorry you're dead, and I'm even more sorry that I'm about to use you in your death and basically ruin your legacy. Which, to be fair, was going to be ruined anyway if he lived. So you could look at it that way. But I didn't like it because again it just felt a little bit loose, a little bit rushed ending, a little bit weak. But what I do like about it is it continues the messaging of corruption, despite the lessons that she should have learned from everything that's happened.
Yes.
She's still covering stuff up.
Yeah. The thing is, it's one of those. First things I want to say, I didn't necessarily watch this one for a political drama.
But that's what it was.
It was. I would love to watch a political drama in Star Wars, but this wasn't a political drama. This was what's happening in the thing. So I don't mind this being quickly rounded up. And this summed up the political part. Oh, not the political part. The talking to the Senate. I don't mind. But my point was going to be that sometimes when you get into trouble, it's easier to lie and keep lying and keep trying to patch up what was bad than to go, oh, sorry, I kept making all these mistakes.
But that's the thing, right? Sorry.
And confess that your guilt.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? Oh, the bloody names. I'm that pent up about this. I've lost names now, right? But you've had the Jedi Master leading the strike team 16 years ago, who covered it all up. You've had Sol covering it all up. You now have Venestra covering it all up. It's like, well, they're just not learning.
Yes,
and that's very frustrating.
Yeah, it is, and I suppose that is the point. Almost like imagine politicians being now. It's like they want to keep the power. They want to keep themselves there. They're more there to keep themselves in that position than necessary to be honest. Okay, and go and cover up whatever their late night parties or their parties and their expenses on their houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And rather than necessarily go, I'm here to serve the people. I rather than going, they're serving the people, but they're in there for themselves as well, possibly.
So Ben, your roundup.
Roundup.
What do you think of the episode?
Generally a good episode, but I would say this is from the perspective that this is a episode to end a season, not an episode to end a story, a series.
See, I would say, my view of it is, if this were an episode in say if this was the penultimate episode or the episode before the penultimate episode, it was a good episode. But it's not. It's a season finale. And as a season finale, I think it lacked in a lot of ways. I think they took a lot of shortcuts, and ultimately they've left me disappointed on several key elements of the story to me, which there's no other way to say it. Like, I'm a very optimistic guy. I mean, I've been reviewing this with you for 8 episodes now. I have loved the series, but my God, they could have ended it better. Like, I'm disappointed with how they ended this. And I can only hope and pray they make a season 2. So, just to make amends for how they ended this for me, because this is not how I wanted to end. And I'm not saying that just from a plot perspective. The plot that they decided on in terms of the key events that happened, that's what they've decided. I accept what they did. Whether I like it or not, that's what they did, and I will love it for that. Same as with, elements of the prequel trilogy. Same with most of the sequel trilogy, right? I will accept the story for what they made it to be, and it is Star Wars, and nothing will take that away. But I'm frustrated, Ben.
How do you think it could be improved? Could it have been better?
Not as many points in this episode where it's a quick little flash of something, that's it, we're not showing you anything else about it. Too many little cut up pieces that they don't resolve or tie up. I'm not looking for them to tie everything up in a nice little bow, so that's the end of everything. But everything from a silly thing like Basil deciding to sabotage Sol's ship. Why? Let's continue that and see why he's doing that. Oh, wait, you're not going to tell us about it. Great, no bother at all. To, I don't know.
I agree with you on Basil. That probably should. I don't think that will ever get answered, unfortunately. I hope it does. And it should have. Yeah.
No, it won't. To Plagueis, right? He needed more than just a tiny little creep out of a rock, and that was it. What is he doing there? Why is he there? What's his relationship with Kamir? Is there a relationship with Kamir? Or is he just stalking him? I'm not asking for them to go in depth and start exploring it all, but give us more than a 2-second peek at the guy, and then round it off for the season, right?
If they had called this the Acolyte Part 1, would that make you feel any better?
Yeah. Yeah, because I know they'll continue it and I'll get more answers. And that way, I'd still say it's a weak ending to this season, but at least I'd have hope that they'll still tie things up. If they end this and don't make a season 2, right, I'll feel like lost all over again.
I completely agree with you on that one.
Yeah, they need a season 2.
Yeah, I think this. I'll rephrase it. I think this is a good preview for a season 2.
Yeah. For it to come into its own properly. Like that, actually, here you go. Yeah, you're spot on, right? This is a foundation. What they've built is a foundation. It's got a couple of weak points to it, but a solid foundation to build another couple of seasons on. That's what they've built here, right? And what I'm this
prelude.
This is probably why I'm so frustrated. It's a prelude to next week. One of the reasons why I'm so frustrated is because we've had so many toxic moopsies on the internet that I'm scared that they're going to can it.
On that, this is one of the things I wanted to talk to you about next week.
And we will
have half of that, other than reviewing the whole season as a whole. I wanted to talk about that because I completely agree, and that is my fear.
Yeah, and that's definitely right. This is actually a good time to talk about it as well, so you guys can see some of how we actually talk about this stuff. But let's take half or however long we want to take of reviewing the season as a whole next week, and the rest of it, we need to dedicate a good chunk of time to, the wider fan reaction across the world. What have been the positives that other people have been talking about? What have been the negatives? What are our views on those? What do we think the wider impact of that could be? Are we scared about it or not? I think that'll be a very, very interesting conversation. So, guys, please join us next week as we go through that in detail. And I expect I'm going to be just as passionate as I am right now because, oh my God, it's like I've been able to contain my emotions like a good little Jedi for 99% of our episodes. And then today, it's just, I've been so frustrated today that I feel so bad. But I just, I'm laughing because I didn't laugh, I'd cry. They should have ended it better, Ben.
And can we end this episode brilliantly and better?
No.
We cannot.
Yes, we absolutely can. Look, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I am sorry that I've been so frustrated during this, but it's because I'm passionate and I love the show, right? I absolutely love the Acolyte, and that is why, that is what you'll hear me go on about quite a lot next week. A lot of the highs and a lot of the things that I loved about it. Ben, where can we find you, mate?
You can find me at Trek Wars and Fantasy on YouTube, Twitch, and Trek Wars Fantasy on Twitter, where I do Star Wars and Star Trek content. And where can we find you, Olympus?
You can find me on Twitch, you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on TikTok, you can find me on YouTube, all under Olympus0511. Do not put a space after the Olympus, otherwise you're going to get a massive list of cameras and not me. Don't put the space in and you'll get me followed by a whole list of cameras. Before we round off, here's a good way of ending quite positively. Ben, in a very, very short, snappy view, what was your favorite part of this episode?
Not snappy. Insert edit here.
I've put you on the spot.
No. No. Okay. So my favourite part of this is actually the planet with the rings around it and the appearance through that. Completely underrated because of everything else, good for good or bad, but
no, the special effects and what they do with the ships in those rings were beautiful. I'm really glad you picked that.
And what do the Jedi say again? May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.